What?
1-on-1, no shirts.
Hey, Daybreak.
On your whiteboard, here we go. Please tell me, what is it called when I help others reach their max potential? What? I know, leave it there. She'll get an experience. Good. What is it, Patrick? Transcendence. On your whiteboard, who's the dude behind transcendence and self-actualization and his hierarchy of needs? Oh, you can leave it down. I just had a ton of crap up there before. Thank you, Karen. Good. Who is it, Kristen? Maslow. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when? I believe that the more words you have, the more complicated your thoughts are. Good. What is it, Ella?
Linguistic relativity theory.
She's just a boss, man. Don't hate. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when you, the more creative you are, if you're a creative person, what type of thinker are you? Good, I got 1, 2. JR. No. What is it, Gabriel? Divergent. What is it called when I only hear things that I like? So if I'm a diehard Republican, I don't listen to any of the crazy things about the Republicans, but thinking that Hillary Clinton has a child prostitution ring in the bottom of a pizza parlor, I believe. Yeah, he was trying to shoot up the place.
Trying to see.
No, it was in New Jersey or something. What is it, Abigail? There you go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when I am, every time I bake cookies, they always come out terrible, but I keep doing the same damn thing, and I'm just hoping it's different the next time. Good, Jackson. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when, if I'm out of a hammer and I need to hammer something, I pick up a stapler. I do not suffer from what? Good. What is it, Eric? Functional fixedness. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called? Are you okay? Sounded like a bomb was going to drop. That's completely common. You're right. Silly me. No, it's not. So this is how we're going to live our lives now. On your whiteboard, please tell me what controls hunger. JR. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is, please tell me what is it called when you, who's the first dude to study intelligence theories? Good. Kayla. On your whiteboard, who's the first one to study intelligence testing? Thank you so much for that update. We were all really worried. What is it, David? On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when I am, yeah, let's go. We got things to do. All right, here we go. So tomorrow you do have a test, 35 questions. It's going to be a normal day for you people, which is so exciting. Aren't we glad?
Yes.
I'm glad. Actually, I really don't care. If you want to go protest to your heart's content, do you. So are people, there's still planned protests, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they trying to adjust?
I don't understand how it's really a protest.
Yeah, it's like assembly.
Yes, I know, because you can't just do whatever the hell you want.
I mean, it's not
When, a protest isn't just you doing whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, it's not even that.
Really, you're supposed to be getting your voices heard. When you go to a protest, for instance, if you go to any protest, you have to still go to the government and say, "Hey, I'm registering to have a protest here." You have to follow the rules. Yes.
If you do it,
You
that
can't.
it's not considered an act of
No, it's not. It's no, it's not true.
Jesus.
Jesus, you're gonna get executed. Jesus, no. What happens to you is you can get arrested. for public conflicts and stuff like that. Blocking traffic.
Bennett, I'm the only one in this row, and every other row is filled up. But like,
What?
I'm the only one in this row.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Nico. Yes.
Wait, call. Can you sit properly?
I got it.
Yes, darling.
One of the juniors our age is supposed to be speaking at it, and he told us last period that after the call went out, he went to talk to them and he fixed about it.
Well, I hope so. I mean,
What happened?
It's not good.
well, there's always speakerphones.
They took it away.
What, the little...
They took away all the microphones. Thank you, Boston.
Well, then someone, if you play in high school, you guys can throw yourself an alternative prom. And rented that for like 12 grand. You can find a bullhorn. Here we go. Development. So, first of all, in order to study development, you need to know your different types of research methods. First one is cross-sectional. When you have a group of 20-year-olds, group of 40-year-olds, group of 60-year-olds, and you ask them the same question. Very popular, very effective, very cheap. Okay, longitudinal is you follow a group of 20-year-olds for the next 60 years until they're 80, and you figure out all the life changes and all that stuff. Very, 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 very rich in data. Tons of information. Also very, very expensive. Very rarely done. So, a nice blend of the two, of the cheap one, which doesn't give you that much information, or the long one, is your cross-sequential. Your cross-sequential is when you ask different people from different age groups and you follow them for about like a year, year and a half. Okay? And so that's the nice blend. It's a cheaper mix of the two. You get some long-term data. Stop doing whatever you're doing. Okay, nature-nurture. If you don't know what nature-nurture is, you're in for a really rough life on that AP exam, people. We've talked about it like 10,000 times. Okay, so genetics are the recipe of how to make you, made up of DNA. Your genes and your chromosomes are all a blend. Your dominant ones are the ones that are present or that you can see. Your recessive ones are the ones that you carry with you. Conception happens, okay? Sperm and an ovum. An ovum is an unfertilized egg. As soon as the sperm breaks into the ovum, conception occurs. Then you have a zygote. So the first stage is a zygote. So once fertilization happens, it goes ovum, zygote. And so in my head, it's like floating through the fallopian tubes for 2 weeks. And this is called what we call the embryonic stage. No, it's not. It's the germinal stage when it's floating through. Now, during this time period, if it becomes a monozygotic or dizygotic, monozygotic, who can raise your hand and tell me what monozygotic means? What do you got, Ella?
One zygote, so they're like identical twins.
They're identical twins, absolutely. So one egg splits in two. What's dizygotic? What is dizygotic? Elijah. Okay, 2 separate eggs, and how similar are they? Normal siblings, these are your like fraternal, okay, boy, girl, twins, that's it. All right, so the zygote splits into 2, monozygotic has 2 fertilized at the same time. They're dizygotic. So as it's floating through, if it doesn't split correctly, we get the Hensel sisters. Remember them?
Oh, that was scary.
They're like
That was just scary.
Yeah, they're kindergarten teachers. Here we go. Germinal period. So the germinal period is when it becomes a zygote. So as it's like floating through the fallopian tubes and uterus, you don't know you're pregnant during this time period. So if you drink, not that I'm saying you should drink, but if you're drinking during your pregnancy, it's not going to have any consequence because the zygote is just floating through the fallopian tubes to the uterus. It's not until it becomes an embryo in the embryonic stage that it attaches to the uterine wall. So once it attaches to the uterine wall, any toxic stuff in your bloodstream goes to the baby. Miss Bennett? Yes. I don't know. No, it could be a thin book. Is it about Ape World? Is it AMSCO? Oh, I'll take it, whatever it is. I'll come down and get it next period. Thank you. Alright, so as it attaches to the embryo, as soon as it attaches to the uterine wall, it becomes an embryo, and then you're in the embryonic stage, and it's there for 8 weeks, 6 weeks. What?
Parents will like drink when they're pregnant. Do their kids have a higher tolerance for alcohol?
No, it kills your brain cells, and you come out dumber. You're less attractive.
Why are you staring at me like
So, embryonic stage is when it attaches to the uterine wall. It's there from 2 to 8. Once you hit the 8th stage, it then turns into your fetal. During this time, you go through critical periods. As soon as it attaches to your uterine wall, starting in week 2, that's the largest surge of brain development of the whole time you're being baked in the oven. Yep. Are you kidding? Nico, grow up, please. Thanks. So, when you have the critical periods are when the most brain development's happening or whatever type. So, if you're drinking during, say, week 3, first stage of the embryonic, you're going to really damage your child's brain activity and all that stuff. So, that's what the critical periods are. Fetal period is going to be from 8 to birth, and that is when it becomes a fetus. Once it becomes a fetus, it's growing at a faster rate by pure size. It's also the most stable, which is why you don't tell people you're pregnant until 8 weeks, because at that point, you're typically not going to lose the baby at that point. All right, to the boards. Here we go. On your whiteboard, what is an unfertilized egg called? What is it, Maya? Ovum. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the first stage called? What is it, Maddie? Germinal. On your whiteboard, what is the last stage called? What is it, Patrick? Fetal. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is identical twins? Your effort's off the charts, Avery. What is it? On your whiteboard, please tell me, what do we call the recipe that makes you? How to make you, what do we call it? JR? DNA. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when it attaches to the uterine wall? Thank you, Morgan. What is it called when it attaches to the uterine wall? It goes from a zygote to a what, Max? Embryo. Here we go. So, as soon as the baby's born, we do have some reflexes. The baby's not born completely useless. The reflexes they have are the holding on. Okay? They have the holding on. They have the startle reflex, which makes them look bigger, so if a bear's going to eat them. They have the Babinski, when you touch the cheek. It turns its head. Rooting reflex is also what it's called. Okay, it turns its head to find the nipple. When you pick up the baby moves its feet. It's a foot reflex. It's supposed to kind of kick or start building leg strength. And then, of course, the sucking reflex, which is to help them feed themselves. Okay, so motor milestones are what we look at to see how well baby is functioning. Growing will dictate how intellectually secure they are. If they're not being able to move as they progress, it's a way to track their mental intelligences. So tummy time, roll over, sitting up with support, sitting up by themselves, crawling, and then walking. Those are your major milestones. Okay? All right, so PJ. Now this is something that you guys are going to need to just memorize. It will be on the exam. You're just going to have to know it. So, PJ. Okay, the first stage is your sensory motor stage. The first stage, they're struggling with object permanence. What is object permanence? What is it, JR?
Oh, is it when, like, if a baby sees an object and then it goes away, they think that no longer exists just
There
as they
you go.
can't see
Perfect. So what's the perfect game to play with them?
it.
Peekaboo, because when my hands cover my face, they think I'm gone, and then all of a sudden I appear. Oh my God, she's gone. Oh my God, it's back. That's object permanence. They master it in pre-operational. Okay, they master object permanence in pre-operational. During pre-operational, they have egocentrism. What is egocentrism? Max?
They see the world from the perspective of
Yeah, they don't. If you ask them, how was your day? Like, what did you do at school today? Do they ever ask you a question back?
No.
Do they care about you at all? No. If it's your birthday too? Do they care? No, they don't. They don't. Okay, egocentrism is another big thing that they're missing there. Centration, if they're experiencing something, then everyone's experiencing something. Okay, and then of course conservation. Who can explain conservation? Elijah?
So when you have like a graduate cylinder or like a cup that's like tall and skinny, and then you pour it into one that's like wide but short, and it'll be like shorter and it's like glass, there's less liquid in it.
There we go. Remember the video I showed you for all of this. It's a great thing to think of when you think about it. Pre-operational, the example I use is a hot dog. If I cut it in half and I cut one into quarters, they're going to fight because who got more? The one with 4, because he has 4 pieces, while the kid who has it in half only has 2 pieces. And they don't understand that they're struggling with conservation. Okay? So, pre-operation, concrete operational is your next one. That is when kids start developing logic. They master egocentrism, they master conservation, and now they're starting to use logic in their thinking. And then you have formal operational, which is being able to start thinking in abstract thoughts. Okay? So, on your whiteboard, here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of the dude who's behind cognitive development? What is the name of the dude behind cognitive development? Morgan. Piaget. On your whiteboard, write down all 4 in order stages of Piaget, please. At the end of this, don't erase it, because you're going to put a star next to the answers here. Oh my God, we talked about this. I'm glad you remembered. Have a good day. Am I seeing you tomorrow at all or no?
No.
Okay, perfect. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Good. What are they, Christina? Don't erase them.
Sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal.
Perfect. Put a star next to where children are struggling with conservation. Put a star next to the one that children are struggling with conservation. What is it, Nico?
Pre-operational.
On your whiteboard, please tell me where. Put a star next to where they're thinking logically. Maya, concrete. On your whiteboard, please tell me where do they master object permanence? Where, Maddie? On your whiteboard, put a star where they start thinking abstractly. Good. What is it, David? Formal. On your whiteboard, put a star next to where they suffer from egocentration. There you go. Good. What is it, Alexis? Pre-operational. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called? These allow us to track the intellectual. Oh, you can erase it. This allows us to track the intellectual capabilities of the child. Put it all in the box. In the box by seeing what they can do and in the order and the speed. It allows us to compare it. They're going slower and all of that stuff. It's a big deal, and this is what your doctor's appointments are always about. What is it? Gabriel? Milestones. Bye, sweetie. On your whiteboard, please tell me how many reflexes are babies born with? Good. How many, Jackson? 5. What is it called when you touch a baby's cheek and it turns its head to it? What do we call that? Good. What is it? Kristen? Rooting reflex. All right, here we go. So, on your test last week, you actually had a question. On your mock exam, you actually had a question on it. These are the 5 phases of language development. First one's cooing, where they just make this like hoo hoo when they're like happy. Babbling is they're just talking complete nonsense. Nothing makes sense. Like when they pick up a phone, they just go and they just mimic talking on the phone. One word is, food, mom, Nico. That's one of my favorite words to use. One word phrases, nothing else needed. Telegraphic is me go now, cookie now, mama, dada, go, or, all that stuff. And then whole sentences are when you're starting to string things together. And there you go. Those are your stages of language. Now, when we talk about language, it is important to talk about Vygotsky. He believes that the more you experience language, the better you are. And language is all about area zone of proximal development, the more language you hear, the better you're going to be. Vygotsky. 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 All right. Then you have, of course, your temperament, which is an 8, which means you're born with it, which means it's genetically tied. You're either easy. Now, remember, your temperament is the foundation of your personality. Raise your hand if you're an easy baby. If you were an easy baby, that makes a lot of sense. Okay? So easy babies are, their parents can hand them off to any person, and they're going to just be happy-go-lucky kids. Raise your hand if you were difficult. Yeah. Okay? If you were difficult, means your parents constantly had to hold on to you. You required a lot of attention, which probably continues now, and this slow to warm up means you kind of have a distrust of everybody. Who is this? Slow to trust? Yeah. Really? That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, and then you have attachment done by my girl Ainsworth. Okay, you need to know her. Mary Ainsworth is the one who does attachment. Attachment is the bond between a mother and child or caregiver and child. And there's 4 major. I showed you a video about this, remember? Okay, secure is what you're going to have when you have a kid. This is when who can explain the experiment for Ainsworth? Come on. I know this is not very exciting. David.
The one where baby was left in the room by itself, and they saw how it played, and then they brought him into the room.
Yeah.
But they ran to the mom.
Yeah, of course. So the mother leaves. Every baby cries when the mother leaves, except if you are disorganized, disoriented, okay, or ambivalent. When the mother left and when the mother came back, that was the response. If you have a secure attachment, the kid's going to cry when the mother leaves. When the mother comes back, the kid's like, pick me up. And the baby gets picked up. They cuddle for a second, and the baby's like, oh, I want to go play now. And the baby's like, yeah, goes around. That means they have a secure attachment, which means the mother is a good mother or father, caregiver, whoever. Avoidant is as soon as the mother reaches down for them, they have as soon as the mother comes back in, the baby wants nothing to do with them. Just wants nothing to do with them. Avoidant. Ambivalent is when the mother comes back in the room, the kid is just mad as hell and starts hitting the mom, is really aggressive with the mom, and just wants absolutely nothing to do with them. Okay? And then disorganized, disoriented, the kid is just like staring up into space. And obviously these avoidant and disorganized show straight up abuse. Ambivalent shows a lot of issues in the house.
I think child is one like disorganized.
If you are totally taught that you have no value and you have nothing and your parents don't understand, because they're learning from their environment as well. They absolutely reflect the environment that they are raised in. Like if you are getting plenty of attention, then you're going to want more attention. If you're not getting any attention, then you're going to self-entertain yourself. All right, and then we have Harry Harlow and his 2 mothers. Who can explain this experiment? What do we got? Elijah.
The attachment is sort of based off of feel. So when the wider mother could provide it food, and then they have the cloth mother on the wire frame. So then even when the baby monkey went and got food from the wired mother, it still went back for comfort.
Contact comfort. Okay, so when the monkey is scared, who does it run to? The cloth mother or the wire mother? And what happens when the monkey got to the cloth mother? What did he end up turning around and start doing to the crazy, creepy robot thing? Yeah, I started yelling at him, and started yelling at him, just like Toby does. When, if there's a noise outside my house, Toby will run behind where I am in the house and then start barking. He won't do it while he's by the door. He'll run away from the door, stand behind me, and then start barking. Okay, because there's contact comfort. Okay, what that means is that he derives strength from being behind his mama when there's an intruder coming. That's Toby. Same thing with the monkeys. As soon as they touch the mother, they're like, yeah, I'm safe. I'm with my mother. And then they turn around and start screaming. That's contact comfort. That's a good dog. My dog is currently maxing, relaxing on the couch right now and watching construction. No, there's got to be some sort. There's some sort. It's not just they're abused. What? What was the last part? What? By beating them? Oh, no. No. It's like training and stuff. Like, go. You trying to say my man will never be a guard dog? Yeah, he's never. McCrae's about going bed shopping for Toby because he doesn't think he's comfortable enough on the couch. So that's McCrae's big plan this weekend is, well, Toby deserves like a dog bed, which he's eaten before. He's had like 6 of them and he eats them. But I'm glad. He's the most beautiful black lab. Here we go. I will at the end of class. I'll show you. All right, here we go. So, Erickson, you don't need to know them all, but you do need to be familiar with them. I would know trust versus mistrust. Every time the baby cries, they're trying to see whether you'll come to their aid and building up that relationship. I would also know identity versus role confusion because that's where the age all these kids are taking these AP exam. That makes sense, right? They'd ask. So identity is you're trying to figure out who you are, what you want to be when you grow up, what you believe, and you're struggling with the idea of you want to be a grown-up, but sometimes you act like idiots. Can we agree? Yeah. Like one week you'll be like, I'm such a good grown-up, mom, dad, and then the next week you do something really stupid and you're like, God damn it, I really shot myself in the foot there, right? Okay, that's identity versus role confusion. Those are the ones I would know, and it goes through your whole life. Okay, gender roles are the rules for what men and women are. Jared, could you keep your shoe shopping to maybe another time? Thanks, darling. I know, I agree. I would like to do the same. Huh? Are they Jordans? Gender roles are how society, culture's expectations of women and children. Gender typing is how we teach men and women that. So gender typing is we give boys dump trucks and guns. We give girls dolls and play makeup, correct? That's gender typing. Gender identity is how you identify yourself. Do you identify yourself male, female? Biological influences, obviously it's all of your genitals help decide that. Then you have your environmental. If your mother is a really very feminine, then you're probably going to be feminine or you're going to push against it in the opposite way. Then you have your culture. Here in the United States as a whole, we're more masculine than most. Adolescence, there's a thing called puberty. It's our best time of our lives when we're at our best, obviously, when we go from children into adults and we're able to reproduce for the first time. And then cognitive, of course, we covered PJ. Moral dilemma, we think people care about us and are constantly following us. All right, at the end of our lives, women go through menopause, which stops us from being able to reproduce. Men go through andropause, which is in their 70s. Women go through it in their 50s. Effects on aging. Parenting styles. Authoritarian are going to be ones who are overly concerned about the rules. The rules matter more than anything. Authoritative is what you are all going to be, where every rule has a situation where it can bend. It's about the communication you have with your children and making sure that there are guidelines, but there are some exceptions depending on the situation. And then you have permissive parenting. You have permissive neglectful when the parent just completely does not listen. And then you have permissive indulgent. Those would be the parents who paid for a second prom, called the alternative prom at Armature Works. Whoever paid for that, what the hell are they thinking? That would be permissive indulgent. Erickson, all of that. Wear and tear. Okay, good. Thank God. Here we go on your whiteboard. You haven't been yet? I thought all of Tampa has been there. Oh. You don't know what it is?
No, it's the market.
Yeah. It's over by Ulele.
It's the place right next to Ulele.
It makes sense, maybe. You guys haven't been yet?
No.
I mean, it has a really, really cool, like, vibe to it. And a lot of cocktails, so maybe. There was an alternative prom there. To rent the space, it's like $12,000.
They rented?
Yes, you had to rent the space. Yes.
$90 at first.
So, permissive indulgent. Here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the lady who studied attachment? Come on, come on, come on. What is it? Kristen? Ainsworth. On your whiteboard, what part of your personality is innate and also inherited? It is the foundation of it. Good. Come on, come on, come on. How much time do we have? 7 minutes. Gabriel, pull it together, man. Here we go. What is it? Jackson. Temperament. On your whiteboard, please tell me if my mother leaves and she comes back and I run up to her and I'm like, oh my God, Mommy, I missed you. She gives me a big hug and I'm like, oh my God, I want to go play with the toys now. What is it, Max? Pure. What is it called if my mommy comes back in the room and I'm like, I hate you, Mommy. Kick, kick, punch. The answer is what, Maddie? Ambivalent. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is, who did the psychosocial stages? Who did the psychosocial stages of development? Who is it? Christina?
Erickson.
Erickson. What psychosocial stage are you in right now? A lot of wrong answers. What is it? Ella?
Identity versus role confusion.
Identity versus role confusion. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is it called when women cease to be able to reproduce? Good. Avery? Menopause. All right, you have the remainder of class to work on your Barron's book. Hopefully Gabriel takes this time to get it done. Sure.